Good morning out there in YouTube land. This is Craig Harris, the black man in the green chair. And it is November 7th. It is early in the morning on the East Coast. I woke up and I had fire, ready to bring fire this morning. Happy N7 day, folks. The N7, hopefully it's BioWare's big announcement day for all things Mass Effect related. Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out Q1 of next year, or Q1. So starting next month starts Q1, I believe. But that's a business quarter. So, but happy N7 day to us, folks. I have the day off. That's why I'm doing this early. This is the first of two podcasts that I'm doing this morning. I'm going to do another one later on. So, shout out to One Stop for Gamers. Shout out to Cycle Gamer, JD33, Widowmaker. I'm going to try to do a podcast with everybody. I want to do one this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and put some things out on the table because I heard I listened to two Xbox podcasts this week, and the stuff they're saying is incredibly ignorant. So let me start on that right now. I know that was a sorry ass transition, but I got to go on this right now. You have a group of people on a podcast who are comparing the PlayStation Pro, which is a mid-generation replacement or mid-generation optional replacement if you want to get rid of your PlayStation 4. And, it takes advantage of the UHD 4K TVs, the ones that have HDR with some of the games. It's for those people who have made that step up. They are comparing it. They mean these Xbox people. And these are two podcasts. And I'll give the podcast names. One is Xbox Beast Fire, which had a couple people on there. And again, shout out to Next Gen 720. I really do like this brother, but I personally think these guys are beneath what you stand for and what you're doing. But you literally had these guys on there saying that the PlayStation Pro doesn't do 4K gaming. Then in the same breath, they will turn around and they will say, oh, well, if it does 4K, but it's going to be on small indie titles that do not count. So bear with me here. I've got a list up of the PlayStation 4 games, and I'm just going to read off some of them that are in 4K native, okay? 4K native. Let's see here. Let me go down. I just saw it. Okay. Here's a big one. NBA 2K17. HDR native 4K at 60 FPS. I'm going to say that again. It has HDR and 4K native at 60 FPS. What the hell are these clowns talking about? It obviously does 4K native gaming. Let me digress and continue. Okay. Let's see here. The Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Edition. This is by Bethesda. This is a major third-party developer. Native 4K. Increased graphic fidelity if you just have 1080p screens. Again, what the hell are they talking about? It does 4K native. It says it right here. I'm looking at the list, and this is a confirmed list. This list is on Eurogamer.net. It came out on Friday afternoon. So again, what are they talking about? I'm going to get to that shortly. Manus Burn Racing, native 4K at 60 FPS. You should have heard this guy on there named Dealer Gamer literally say, this is on the Xbox Beast Fire Mode podcast, say, well, it doesn't do 4K gaming. Then turned around and said, well, it will do 4K native, but it's only going to be on racing games, which are easy to render. But I'm going to get into why they're doing this and what a sad next 10 to 12 months they're going to be having. But let me continue. Let me continue. Some more 4K games. Okay. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition. That's out now. Again, Bethesda Games. Native 4K. So what the hell are they talking about? I mean, you have to really look. This is what I'm looking here at this list. So what the hell are they talking about? Rise of the Tomb Raider has a upscaled 4K mode at 30 FPS. So I know that's upscaled. It's not native. So Thumper, native 4K. I mean, what am I? We're at what, 6 games that are out now. I mean, that are physically out in the store now. So let me keep going. The Witness, native 4K, 30 FPS. Again, what the hell are they talking about? The Last of Us remastered, native 4K with HDR. It has an improved 60 FPS mode, so it can do either or. The Last of Us Left Behind, native 4K. I think I said Thumper, native 4K. Titanfall 2, a game that's out right now. Higher resolution, more stable frame rates. Okay, so let's start with what the PS and you got these clowns on this podcast saying that, well, it can't do this, it can't do that. But let's start with what the PlayStation Pro is and what it's not. The PlayStation Pro is a mid-generation replacement. That's all Sony has said it was going to be. It's not a next step generational console. I've heard too many people on YouTube lying to you guys about this shit. It ends now. It ends now. I don't know why people like this are on here, but I had to really think on it and sleep on it, and I figured out why. But again, the Pro is a next generation. It's not a next generation console. Excuse me. It is a mid-tier, mid-generation replacement. All right, that's what it is. It's for people who have gone out and bought UHD TVs. And I've got some questions here that I've got from people on my Twitter and on email. I'm gonna answer your questions too at the end of the podcast. This is gonna be called Question Time. Question Time with Craig. That's the name of that segment. So you have to ask yourself why guys like Dealer Gamer and D-Batch and all these guys are making a comparison on the Xbox. The PlayStation Pro being this next step, being this next generational console, when Sony has specifically said that's not what it is. You got to start asking yourself that, folks. Why are they doing it? Well, now let's get into why they're doing it. It's because for the next 10 to 12 months, they are going to be in damage control, period. They will be in damage control, period. Anytime you have Next Gen 720 do a podcast yesterday afternoon saying that he was, quote, impressed by what he saw on the on the PlayStation Pro. This brother said that. He said that. I'm not putting words in that man's mouth. I got too much respect for him. He said that these people on this other podcast are butthurt. There, I said it. So what they have been reduced to, because they're fanboys, and that is the problem, they're upset that Sony has a console. You know, Phil Spencer walks out there, pulled his pants down and said at E3 and said, we're the only consoles you're going to be able to do 4K gaming on. It's really the most powerful console in history. Well, nigga, it's not the best. It's not. It's not. The PlayStation Pro is the most powerful console in the history of gaming. The PlayStation 4 Pro is physically in stores right now. There's some people who have it and some people like me who don't have it. The PlayStation 4 Pro will be for sale at midnight on Thursday, and everybody's still waiting on the Scorpion. But let me digress. They have been reduced. They're going to be reduced, and this is for all the people that I guess want to call themselves Sony guys or PlayStation guys, which to me is silly as well. They have been reduced. Shout out to the viewer that's nice enough to listen this early in the morning to me. They have been reduced to talking about the Scorpion and what it can do. And instead of just, I mean, think about that. They are championing a console doesn't even have a physical form yet. Doesn't have a physical form. But yet they are running their mouths about it. And I'm not here to say that the Scorpion's not going to do everything they say it's going to do. Here's what the thing it's not going to do. It's not going to come with its own VR set because they're going to let Oculus do that. The reason why it's not, why not? I'm telling you this right now because they can't keep the price down with VR on there. They run VR at 4K native, have that come with the system. You're looking at a $650 to $750 console. So you outsource it to Oculus. You let Oculus run it third party, and then let Oculus charge you whatever they're going to charge you. Again, the Oculus is nice, but it's not there. So on these two podcasts, one was Xbox Beast Fire. The other one is BGST. They have been reduced to talking about the Pro like it's a full step up from the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox. And it's not. It is not. Yet still, they ranted and went on and on and on about it. And again, it's because they don't have anything. You will physically, if you have the money, if you have a UHD TV or 4K TV, if you want to call it that, if you have that right now, you can walk into the store Thursday afternoon. I'm talking about GameStop, Best Buy, whatever, Target, and physically buy this console, buy Rise of the Tomb Raider, go back and buy Uncharted, go back and buy The Last of Us, and go home and play in 4K that afternoon, that morning, that evening, whenever you get your shit. These niggas are still talking about have to wait a year for the Scorpion. They're talking about, well, yeah, they can turn around and say that the PlayStation is the most powerful console until the Scorpion comes out. Well, bitch, when the Scorpion comes out, let it come out. But I've never seen this level of, and I heard Hard 8 Gaming talking about this last night. He said, look, for the next 10 to 12 months, and he's right about this, they're going to be in damage control. They're already talking about what it can't do. It can't do 4K native. Bitch, you're a liar. I disprove that. If you want to believe Dealer Gamer and his bullshit that what it cannot do, you can go to www.eurogamer.com and see what games are listed to do 4K native. You're going to have some do it starting at 1800p, which I've said before. It's going to output games between 1440p and 1800p and will upscale them in checkerboard, or it's going to do 4K native game. And again, I named the games, and if you don't believe me, go check the list out yourself. Or you can believe Dealer Gamer and his bullshit. Yeah, and I said Dealer Gamer and his bullshit. So this is why they're doing that. So despite Sony saying we have a mid-generation replacement, it's going to allow you to take advantage of extra power if you have a UHD TV. It even allows you, if you have a 1080p TV, to get some benefits as well. And we're going to do this for $399. That's what this system is, folks. That's what the Pro is. So when you hear Xbox guys say it doesn't do 4K native gaming, you can just rail off those games and say, yes, it does, sir. Yes, it does. And that's if you get into it with them. I hope you don't. You need to just start overlooking them. I listened to another Xbox podcast I listened to was BGST. I thought it was hilarious that Tim Dog, of all people, said, quote, the PlayStation Pro is a mid-generational step. Microsoft is going the full step. So let me say that again. It's a mid-generational step, which Sony says it is. Microsoft is doing a brand new console. They have to do it because Sony has ran them out of this market. So they're doing another podcast. I'm sorry, they're doing another console. And this is on their podcast. So you need to start asking yourself, if Tim Dog, of all people, and this is the quote-unquote Best Buy stalker, if this guy is smart enough, and all those guys are smart, but if this guy is smart enough to realize, hey, look, the Pro is just a mid-generation replacement, and the Xbox Scorpion is a totally new redesigned console. It's coming out 4 years after the Xbox One. So, and Phil Spencer has said, don't expect a new console every 2 to 3 years, because guess what? 2013, you got the Xbox One. 2016, you got the Xbox One S, which was a mid-generation replacement for Microsoft. It does UHD gaming. It took advantage of UHD upscaling, which is perfectly fine. It was a little more power so that the games that were 900p can now get to 1080p. Again, they didn't leave anybody behind. They need to be celebrated. But the PlayStation Pro is the bigger version of that. It has more power. But yet, and they know that. They know it runs circles around the Xbox S, so they have nothing to compare it to except the Xbox Scorpion, which for all I know is going to be as big as a goddamn tank. And the fact of the matter is, folks, is Sony has done something that Microsoft hasn't. Microsoft, at least for the last 3 weeks, has not said anything. And the reason why they haven't said anything is because those guys in Redmond got a hold of that PlayStation, because they give each other stuff all the time. They got a hold of it, and they're like, oh, shit, they're going to be able to do 4K native gaming. They can do it already. I don't have to wait on the Scorpion to do 4K native gaming. And why would I, when all the games that are on that goddamn system are also on Windows? They're also on Windows. So they're basically saying, well, so what game, they were talking about Gran Turismo, not Gran Turismo. So they were talking about Forza, like Gran Turismo isn't going to be the better game. Gran Turismo's always been the better game. There would be no Forza, if there was no Gran Turismo. And everybody knows that. Anybody knows anything about driving games knows that. So, I mean, it's ridiculous, but these two podcasts, or you can go back and listen to them. They're some of the stupidest comments I've ever heard in my life. All right, they clearly don't know what they're talking about, and they clearly are. I don't get, I just don't get. I get why they're doing it, because they're extremely upset that Sony now has the two most powerful consoles out in the history of the planet. You will be able to do 4K gaming on their systems, and you can't do anything 4K on the Xbox One S. I've got an Xbox One S. I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't even have a fucking Bluetooth on it. I can't Bluetooth my wireless headphones in because it didn't come with that. It did come with a thing for a wired one. But when you have Bluetooth, you don't want to do it. That's why you have Bluetooth, Microsoft. I mean, it's ridiculous. So they're saying, they being Xbox Beast Fire Mode, these people that were on there were saying it can't, what the Pro cannot do. Can't do 4K native. Well, obviously it does. Liars. And then you have BGST literally come out and say that, it's a mid-generational replacement. They also said, oh yeah, we're not going to forget the whole power thing. We're not going to let that go. You all threw that in our faces. We're not going to let that go. Well, guess what? What is it going to be able to do that the Pro can't do? Somebody let me know. What is the Scorpion going to be able to do? It does VR, so does the PlayStation Pro. It's going to be able, allegedly, I've not seen a 4K game running on the Xbox Scorpion yet. I have seen a 4K game running on the PlayStation. So they're both going to do 4K native. They both will. So what else is there? What else is there? They got nothing. They got nothing, folks. And they act like that you can only get one. See, somebody breaks into these people's houses and they put a gun and a knife to their head and to their wives and their children's head and says, you can only go get the Xbox because it's going to be doing this. So again, listen for the damage control. Listen for the desperation in their voices. This is going to be 10-month damage controlling from the Xbox community. Instead of just being like a next-gen 720, again, shout out to that, brother. Instead of just being like next-gen 720 and saying, look, I've seen it, I've got it, I'm impressed with it, and saying, kudos to Sony. They won't do that. So let the damage control begin. All right. That's the end of that part of the podcast, folks. Let me calm down and take a swig of my adult beverage here, even though it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, let me get to the questions here. This is an email. Hey, Craig, what's a good 4K TV to get at this point? I've got about $550. All right. Well, here in Lexington, Kentucky, I'm not the 4K ambassador. I suggest you go listen to Hard 8. Hard 8 has been giving great advice on 4K TVs and what to look for. Here in Lexington, Kentucky, there is a store called H.H. Gregg. You walk in there with $550. You just tell them I need a 10-bit panel HDR television, and you go from there. So I got $550, and they can wheel and deal with you. No, not Best Buy. Best Buy may take 10, 20, maybe $10 off of something. If you're $10 short, they may wheel and deal, so I can cut that down for you. But I don't know how much they can come down. Best TV to get, this is just my opinion. I would start with either a Sony or Samsung. Some of the Sony TVs are better because they have individual LEDs running individually versus Samsung that's running one panel. But there's no right or wrong there. You have to make up your mind. All right, brother? All right. Next question. Craig, what do you know about the Hisense TV? Hisense TVs are made in China. They have a high burnout ratio on the screen. So if you get a Hisense TV, make sure you get the extended warranty, the Geek Squad warranty that covers burn in or burn out on that screen. With that Geek Squad warranty at Best Buy, if you're going to go to there and get the TV, with that warranty, it allows you can just call them up and say, look, my damn TV's burnt out. They will bring one to you within the next 2 hours. They'll just take the other one out of your house. They'll check it, and then you'll have to sign the paperwork, and they'll replace it for you. Question, what games will the PS4 Pro do 4K native gaming? Yes, it will. The Last of Us, by Bethesda, they're doing not by Bethesda, by Naughty Dog, I'm sorry. Bethesda's got a Elder Scrolls that's going to be 4K native, and Skyrim's running 4K native. So again, it does 4K native gaming. Those are major titles. NBA 2K 4K native. There you go. I mean, what more do you want? And the final question here, Craig. The movie question. Finally, here we go. Craig, what do you think about Doctor Strange? I really like Doctor Strange. I didn't know anything about the character. Shout out to the 2 viewers early this morning. Thanks for getting up and hearing my voice. This video is about why there are Xbox fanboys comparing the Scorpion to the PlayStation Pro. But back to your movie question. I like Doctor Strange. He was a combination of it was good. I enjoyed it. They now have quote unquote magic in the Marvel universe. Scarlet Witch can do a lot of the same stuff in the comic books as Doctor Strange, but they haven't brought that into that character yet. And they may not ever. Again, they can retcon the characters, and that's fine. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch did a great job. Doctor Strange is an arrogant asshole. And you get to a point where there's scenes where you will not like him. But again, you have to, before you build somebody up, you got to tear them down. That's what Marvel did. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. There are 2 in-credit scenes, though, so you want to stay afterwards to make sure that you watch them if you like that kind of stuff. Another question here. Craig, how come Star Wars and Captain? I've said this before. Okay, the reason why Star Wars and the not the new Star Wars that's coming out, Rogue One. The reason why Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Captain America: Civil War are not on UHD is because I don't think those companies are participating in the UHD thing. Sony is going to get into the UHD market. I can confirm that to you guys. They're coming out with 2 UHD Blu-ray players. They're going to be insanely expensive. I suggest everybody go get the Samsung 8500D. You can go get it out of box right now at Best Buy for $229. And if you order it online, they may knock off another 20%. So you can get that damn thing for $200. I strongly suggest that if you want UHD content. You want a dedicated UHD player versus having one like the Xbox S, which is terrible, has a terrible reader in it. So, and you're stressing out the reader because you want it to read two different types of information with games and or the other thing, the movies. But that's about that is the end of this podcast, folks. Again, happy N7 Day to us folks that are looking forward to the Mass Effect announcements. I'll be doing another podcast later on to follow up with the N7 thing. Oh, it is early in the morning. Let me take a little swig. Yeah. But yeah, again, a shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to the viewers that are listening. The big two, the two guys. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I need to figure out. Let me see why you all are here. If I can get to this window where my podcast is, because it should say that I'm live now. And let's see if I can find my own podcast on here. Yeah, 2 people watching. Oh, 3 people watching. Let's see if I can shout out to the 3 people that are watching. Yeah, 2 people watching. Oh, 3 people. Let's see here. Well, there's nobody in my window. 3 people that are watching. Well, shout out to you guys that are watching. Let's see here. All right, but that's about it for this podcast, folks. I do appreciate the people that listen to my voice, invite me in. Shout out to the Fighting 40 again. Congratulations to Will Clemens on winning the T-shirt. I'll get that shirt out to you. Probably I'll get it out to you next week. I'll send it to you on probably the 17th or 18th. But I appreciate it, folks. And look, don't get caught up in what these Xbox fanboys are doing. They are butthurt. They've got 10 to 12 months of nothing. Nothing. The next 10 to 12 months will be all about what Sony's doing, their 4K game. They have a spot on CNN. I've seen it. So people who are getting this system, enjoy it. I'm getting rid of my Xbox One S. GameStop's going to give me $175 for it. So I can get this Pro for, let me just do some basic math here. See, I'll just call that $432 with tax minus $175. $257 for this Pro. So I'll be set. All right, guys, I appreciate it. And thank you all for listening. Shout out to all you guys out there. And look for me on some podcasts this week. Hopefully we can start getting it in. Yeah, look for me later on this week or later today. Come back later today after the N7 Day, and I will update you on what BioWare is doing with Mass Effect Andromeda. Take it easy, guys. Peace.